15 years ago, David asked me to lunch, and I said no.
I was surprised by his response. I had assumed, because we were training together away from home, that we were going to share our meals together. To be honest with you, that rejection really hurt. We're here today to share with you how we overcame that moment that could have been the fatal blow in our relationship, to stand on the stage together with you yet again. When we understand why we're doing something together and we're looking at it from the same perspective, that's where we build that human connection. When we do that, we can build with intention, inspire each other, repair damaged or frayed bonds, and drive for results together. We're going to intentionally show you how we can work together for that shared goal of sharing this stage by design and respect each other's individuality. To know where we're going in today's talk, it's important to know where we come from, who we are, and what we believe.
15 years ago, when I rejected David's lunch invitation, it wasn't that I disliked him. I just saw the world a little differently. I was homeschooled, raised with a very task-oriented mindset. My brain just wired to see the why in everything. Why am I doing this? Is it to learn something new? Is it to complete a particular task? Get a little bit closer to a goal? Spending an hour with somebody I already spent the entire day with didn't fit the bill. It seemed like a detour on the path to getting things done.
In contrast, I grew up in rural Wyoming. By the time I graduated high school, I had been part of 13 extracurricular activities. From cross-country to student council to technical theater, I learned that breaking bread was as important, if not more important, than running that race, putting on homecoming, or turning the stage lights on.
Like many of you, I've been obsessed with making the world just a little bit better. We all want to do great things, add value to society, but in an age where the media screams at us, AI is going to replace us all, the pressure to do more, to be more, is immense. I let that pressure consume me. I was so focused on the next challenge that I alienated the very people that should have been, could have been, my biggest supporters. That laser focus on tasks left me isolated and alone, and made me need to revisit my own unwritten rules of connection.
Aaron's pain is a universal one. Despite constantly being surrounded by other people, I too felt isolated and alone at times, and quite frankly, sometimes I still do. It's human nature for us to seek what we think is the same in others. Sometimes it's something visible, or at least seemingly so. Our gender, our race, the fact that we're all here in Grand Junction together. Other times it's that invisible string we have to unravel with context to understand how we are alike. That can be our profession, our political affiliation, or our sexuality. Sometimes we gravitate towards each other naturally. Other times we hold someone hostage and we make them take you up on that lunch offer. In social and academic settings, we call them our friend group, our cliques, maybe even our wolf pack. In the professional setting, we call them our department, our function, and that too can be defined by our geography. But when it looks like Mean Girls, that's when connection is lost. We're going to share with you today the core concepts that we apply by design to stay connected. Take this river, for example. If we all want to cross this river, we likely all have a slightly different understanding of why we're going to do that, and we all may have our own way that we want to cross it.
We need to consider who needs to get across, how often, what about the journey? Are we looking for a direct one or a scenic one? Once we know what it is that we're wanting to do and who we're wanting to do it for, we must continue with intention, with our why, and generally build a bridge and get over it. But we need to be careful to not build a bridge to nowhere, or we'll all end up like the lemmings. No matter what we're constructing, it takes various backgrounds and skills all coming together, all pointed towards the same destination to achieve it. We found that there's 4 key attributes. We call them the bird: build, inspire, repair, and drive. And we use it as a tool to help bring people together. And what I didn't notice or realize 15 years ago, with that lunch invitation, David and I are more birds of a feather than I would have realized.
Build. When we build relationships the same way that we would approach building a house, we do that with intention. We think about how the doorways flow between each other, how the windows provide that transparency, and we also provide those private spaces that we need at time. We consider the end user. When we think about what each of us needs out of that relationship, we're more likely to meet our collective needs. We've already talked about the value of sharing a meal together. And Aaron and I were fortunate enough to work with a gentleman named Leo, who helped us build our own relationship, as well as how we approach what we do today. Years after Leo retired, when we would get together, we didn't talk about the operational challenges that we suffered or overcame, the many trenches that we had to deal with hard things. We talked about how we connected by serving others. We worked for an organization that gave back to the community in many ways. So being there, working together, showing our humanity to help others is how we drove that connection. And I know Leo also inspired Aaron.
Inspire. Leo, he was an intentional, inspirational leader. He inspired me with his wall of filled planners, teaching me the importance of planning and taking note, most importantly, of what could be. He brought people together from many different backgrounds: operations, safety, engineering. He saw talents in people that they didn't see in themselves, solving normally unseen problems simply by bringing the right people together. Leo, he was a visionary, pointing everybody towards the ultimate why. He allowed for mountains to be moved with less than 3 phone calls. And most importantly, he instilled in each one of us the drive to be exceptional versus appearing so. As today's lie is tomorrow's expectation, it's far more sustainable to strive to be amazing than to put on a facade. We must remember to let ourselves be inspired by others.
Inspiration and a great foundation are not enough to sustain a relationship. Just like that house is going to need repairs from time to time, we too need to make sure that we're repairing those relationships when they're broken. Sometimes it's a quick fix like electrical tape on this. Other times we're breaking something right down to the studs and it's full-on renovation. We've all probably also experienced that toxic coworker who comes in like a wrecking ball, and we have to rebuild that together. One of the most powerful things we can do to build connection is actually counterintuitive, and that's not more, it's less. Take away the extra meetings, take away the steps it takes to access each other, take away the chasm that separates us. Gifted repair people understand the vision, respect the people, align the resources to the goal, and they think about what actions they do so they can avoid the unintended consequences. We need to acknowledge our mistakes, and we need to give each other grace.
For the record, that cord needs to go. Drive. Drive real value with humble honesty and zest. Be the keystone of the seemingly impossible arch. Cut through the over-optimistic, sunshine and rainbows plans. Focus on getting the right things done versus more things done. Target your efforts on the things that lead to the largest impact for the most amount of people versus the biggest pat on the back. That missed lunch opportunity with David 15 years ago, it was a missed opportunity. Relationships is the path to a better world. I haven't mastered relationships. I still struggle with hyperfocus, accidentally pushing people away, my friends, my families, my coworkers. But I hope you all can, with intentionality, build, inspire, repair, and drive your way to better relationships. One thing's for sure, without David's intentionality, I wouldn't be up here with you today.
15 years ago, we could have had a moment that killed our relationship, and there are still monumental differences between me and Aaron. Our past informs our present as well as our future. My assumption needed to be challenged that breaking bread was the only way to connect. But we sustain our relationship today by design. Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." Our how is to build with intention. Every Sunday, with rare exception, Aaron and I get together, even though we live in different states, before we have our other commitments. We allow ourselves to inspire each other, be inspired by others, and lead the people that we support. We recognize when we make those mistakes and take the steps to repair that. And we drive towards that common goal. We thank you for your patience and the rerun on this one as well. And we hope you all have a safe drive home.